Welcome back to another episode of Fueling the Flame. Today, we are joined with Aiden Ford and Grace Norman from the Swim and Dive team. Thank you for joining us this afternoon.
Thanks for having us.
Of course.
Yeah. Look forward to it, you know?
Let's get into it then. Alrighty, so Aiden, we're going to start off just getting back into some of your background information. So you swam for the Glen Falls Gator Club under head coach Danny Swanscott, and you grew up in Queensbury, New York. Can you just talk a little bit about what it's like coming from New York all the way out to Wisconsin?
Yeah, it's very cold. The people there usually aren't pretty happy. They're bad at driving too, so that's kind of why I'm here right now.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What's your opinions on, like, Illinois drivers? Are they worse than New York or no?
No. Well, once you get into Boston, too, it gets even worse. Yeah.
That's fair. Awesome. So in 2023 and 2024, Aiden was able to compete in 10 meets for the season. He swam a season best in the CCIW Championship with a time of 2 minutes, 5 seconds, .24 with the 200 backstroke, and then you placed 16th at the CCIW Championship with a time of 2:21.86 in the 200 breaststroke, and then collected a 10th place selection with a time of 4 minutes 33 seconds .79 in the 400 individual medley during the Carthage Classic. Do you want to just go over those real big dubs with the championships?
Yeah, absolutely. So I mean, I'll speak on the 200 backstroke first.
Absolutely.
I don't know if you saw this at all, but I had actually gone, so that was my final time, 2:05, but in the morning, I actually went at 2:29.
Oh,
so,
big jump there.
Yeah, it was just like, I was just like having an off race, and it was just a tough day, but I like kind of bonded with my teammates, and then I think we even did like a little like handshake thing right before my race, and I ended up dropping, I think 24 seconds, which has got to be some type of record in finals, so.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I really put it out there for
Get
everyone.
some good hype from your teammates.
Absolutely.
Who was there to kind of help you through that process then? Is there anyone still on the team here?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. I mean, I think that was the final day, so we all shared, like, we were stuck in, like, a hotel room together in between sessions. So I don't want to, like, we didn't, like, share a bed or anything like that, like, as a team, but we bonded.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Great.
In like a teammate way.
Awesome.
Yeah.
In like a teammate way.
Yes, yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. And then so this year you were actually able to collect a couple of personal best times at the CCIW Championship. So you were able to get a personal best time in the 1650 free with 17 minutes, just under 18. Do you want to talk about that? What is the 1650? How many laps is it? What is that like?
Yeah, so it sucks. Yeah, it's a mile of swimming, so it's like 66 laps. So yeah, it's not the most fun thing in the world. The first time I ever did this race, it was actually like at the beginning of the season. So before that, I was like, wow, I'm gonna go through my whole swimming career without ever swimming a mile. Like, I'm super lucky and everything like that. But somehow I got dragged into it, and then yeah, I swam it, and it like really hurt. I definitely am glad I never had to do it again, but.
Would you ever do it again, just like for fun, or no?
No, I don't think I've walked a mile since then.
Would you ever would you accept money to get to do the 1650? Like, how much money would you have to be paid to do the 1650 again? Like cash money dollars, like in your hand that day. How much?
Great question. Definitely like over $100. You know what I mean? Especially, and the farther out we get from it, it's the more like it's probably an extra 100. So every year. Because probably the more weight I gain too over the years go, so it becomes harder.
The more retired.
Yeah, so like 2 years out is gonna be like $200.
Got you. So they'll have to get you early to get you back in the pool.
Yeah, okay. It's gonna take a lot.
Alumni meet next year.
Yes. Oh my gosh, we'll have to get you back for the 1650 at the alumni meet. I'll talk to
That's
them.
not happening.
Awesome. And so we'll get into it with Grace then. So Grace, you swam for the Ollie Swimming Club all throughout high school under the head coach Jeff Cooper, and then you ended up swimming at the age group nationals in 2017. So what was that like, being able to compete at a national level?
It's a fun meet. It's in Florida, so of course, when you're in middle school, you think it's fun to travel and swim. So it was just a good time overall. Definitely fast swimming. I've never seen kids that fast in my life. So
yeah. How old were you then when you were at that meet?
14. I just turned 14. So
you were young.
Yeah, around
That's
a lot
amazing.
of really good swimmers.
Yeah, that's super, super fun. Well, you've competed at a state and sectional year level every single year since 2016, which is obviously a massive accomplishment. Congrats on that. In 2023, you also collected personal best times at the CCIW Championship, clocking a 27.67 in the 50-yard butterfly, and then another one in the 200-yard individual medley with a 2-minute 13.6 second time. Do you want to talk about just what that was like at the CCIW Championship and being able to get some of those personal best times?
Yeah, my 2 a.m. time was super fun because I hadn't dropped in that event in a long time. So I had actually tied with a girl in the morning, so we were both tied for 9th. So to kind of battle that out in the pool, she had looked at me before and she's like, we're going to 2:13, which was literally like a 2.5 second drop, and I'm like, no way. But we both went to 2:13.
That's awesome.
So it was funny to do that like together, especially just like battle it out in the pool.
What is that like to be able to kind of have that interaction with your competitors before you actually like have the race? I feel like that's something that's really special with swim, where you actually kind of see a little bit more of that camaraderie between teams in the pools. So do you want to just talk a little bit about what that's like?
Yeah, for sure. I love it personally. I'm pretty involved in the CCIW, so I take like special interest in a lot of my friends from other schools. For example, this year we had a huge like technical difficulty at conference, and I sat behind the block before my relay for an hour and 10 minutes. Literally got to talk to all of the Wheaton girls and the Carroll girls next to us and just kind of get to know them and what they were swimming. I think that's the beautiful thing about the sport, is that we get to sit there and have so many conversations. You know, I think it like eases everybody a little bit. You know, I'm not super competitive, so I enjoy like cracking some jokes and hanging out with people behind the block.
I think that's something that's really original about swim, is you guys as a team have a lot of different like personalities on the team, but you're able to kind of like bring each other back in a certain way, and like you guys do a cheer at the beginning of your guys' meet, and I feel like that brings a lot of back into that. So do you want to go into just like what that pre-game ritual is like before your guys' meets, when you guys come over to the announcers table and do your little routine beforehand?
Yeah, Grace.
Yeah, so normally we gather everyone together. Our team's pretty big. It's about 60 people. So we have an inner circle for our cheer, which is all the seniors. So it's been kind of cool to watch that throughout the 3 years and then be in the inner circle this year. And then there's an outer circle of the rest of our teammates. We do our little chant, and then normally one of the senior captains lead us. So this year it was Max Robinson, our men's team captain. He would lead us in a little breakdown, and if we're at home, we always defend the bear. For those of you who don't know, we're sponsored by Haribo Gummy Bears at the pool. So, you know, we always got to give a little shout out to them at the end.
Yeah, that was a fun little addition that you guys added in this year. I was not expecting that, and Max yelled, "Defend the bear," and I was like, what do you mean we are a Firebird?
Yeah,
so
people get super confused. I think that's the great part about it.
Yeah.
Like,
no, I think it's just a great, like, fun way for you guys just to get hype at the beginning of the meet. I mean, obviously, like, it's a high-stake environment. It's loud in the pool. Like, you can't hear anything.
Yeah.
So when you're down there and that adrenaline's pumping, to have something that breaks that tension just a little bit, like, it's perfect. Perfect timing, absolutely. But you grew up in Michigan and came here to Carthage, so just across the pond there. But also this year, you recorded some personal best times this year at the CCIW Championship. Congrats on that with the 50-yard butterfly with the 25.89, placing third. Okay, proud of you. And then also in the prelim swim-off, you placed first for a season best time in the 200-yard individual medley with 2:15.85 at the CCIW Championship. Do you want to talk about that? Because that is massive.
So that was super unfortunate. For those of you who don't know, to A final, you have to place top 8. So when there's a tie for 8th or 16th, you have to swim off. I almost made it through my entire swimming career without a swim off, which is great because it's only 2 people in the pool and everyone's watching you.
Yep.
I did not, and the girl I swam off with was a girl also from my hometown who we swam club with. So we like looking at each other, we knew we were battling for that 8th place. So it was kind of nice to do it with her. Never want to do it again. I looked at Coach Beth and told her, I'm like, this is my worst nightmare coming true right now.
Yes.
But at the end of the day, it was great to like hype us up as a team. I ended up dropping 3 seconds from my morning swim that happened like a half an hour before.
Yeah.
So overall, good vibes, would never do it again, but...
Yeah. Do you want to explain just, like, the team cheering environment when you're in the pool? Because I feel like that's something that's so different with swim than it is with anything else, and that was a massive moment where the team was just lined the entire pool. So do you want to just go into that?
Yeah, so especially our environment at conference, we, like, line up all down the pool, and for our A finals, we tunnel, so you walk around the entire pool deck. It is loud in there. Like Olivia said, the pool deck is loud in general, so you have to be louder than the pool deck, which kind of makes a rowdy bunch, especially with our parent crew up in the stands. They have fat heads, air gun, like everything you can imagine. So it gets pretty crazy in there, but it just helps everybody swim faster. Like I always say, you know, with our environment, especially at our dual meets like Wheaton or Wesleyan, that's when the energy is brought for sure.
Absolutely, yeah. I'm like, that's one thing that I love so much about swim and dive that I feel like is so unique compared to other sports is with other sports, you don't really get that environment where your teammates are literally like shouting at you 5 feet away from you while you're in the pool, while you're actively competing. Like, I'm sure like you've experienced this with the 1650 and like getting on those last laps and having those teammates screaming at you while you're under the water. Like, do you want to talk about your experience?
Yeah, I mean, like for something that she's doing where it's like a 2-minute race, I'm sure like it's a lot easier. Like when people are yelling at you, like it hypes you up, but when people are yelling at you for like 17 minutes, I don't know, it kind of gets annoying after a while. So kind of try and block it out.
Yeah. Well, in the 1650s, they tend to stay a little bit quieter at the beginning until you get to those last few laps as well.
Yeah, because I think if you
scream for 17 minutes, you're losing all your airway.
Yeah, for sure. And then like it's like you're kind of like setting your team up for failure if you're trying to like really have them push like early on in the race, because like I mean you have 17 minutes to kind of just gas out. So
it's an endurance race.
Yeah. There's like times where I'll like catch myself like screaming at like a teammate that's swimming the 1650. And then I'll realize I'm the only one screaming, and then they're also on the other side of the pool, so they probably can't hear me that well. Yeah. So it's just like kind of awkward, and I like question why I'm doing it. But
do you like it more in like the shorter races, or like when it's that full entire team that's like the entire race they're yelling, or do you like it where it's more like just at the end while they're getting those last few laps to kind of just power them through the rest of that race?
I think probably, I don't know, I would say like the whole race, because I don't usually swim like that long. I don't know why I chose my final. Yeah, I don't know my final year why I decided to do that. But I would say like for like shorter races, like I would, it's nice when people like care about how you're doing and like cheer you on. I don't know. What do you think?
I personally love it, right? Like if your teammates are there getting loud on the side of the pool. I don't like my name being called. But I like the energy there.
Yeah.
So.
Well, in the 50s, they get really crazy because it's really fast. Yeah. So you're down, back, and you're done.
And you're taking like 2 breaths, so you know for sure the swimmers can't hear you, which is like the best part. So we're all just screaming, and you can't even hear anybody in the water.
Yeah, I was trying to be for like going back to her when she did that like swim off. Like people had told me that she was doing it. And I was like, oh, like I should go, like, hey, like Grace, you got it. But then everybody was like, no, absolutely not. Like she'll probably not be happy if you do that, because
there was definitely some tears before that swim off. I'm like, this is the worst day of my life.
Yeah, I was thinking about
my teammates being like, it's okay, and I'm like, you're like,
it's not. It's
not that okay.
Or even like smiling at you, I was scared to do that too. So.
Yeah. Well, it's like you got to lock in. It's like all eyes are on you. Like you're there for 2 minutes, and for those 2 minutes, every eye in that pool arena is going to be there. So.
And that's when the name chanting started. I'm like, this is actually.
Yeah, I felt bad. I mean, I joined in like eventually, like so it's fine, but I did feel bad at first for like the first 3,
for like
and then
2 seconds.
And then I joined in and made it worse. So.
Well, let's just talk about a little bit with the team coverage, just going into that. So the team overall for swim was 6-1 for your guys' record, with the conference record being overall 3-1 with 2 home and 1 away win. You guys have done amazing this season with a couple of key wins this season. You placed 3rd at the CCIW conference with Beth Della Roseby getting Coach of the Year. Do you want to talk about what conference was like and being able to place again?
Yeah, so our women's and men's team actually placed 2nd this year. So that was like the highest, which is we were 3rd last year, so this was like the highest we've ever placed. The women were leading for the first 2 days. We had a couple meetings as the women's team, talking about how people are going to count us out. We're like, Carthage is going to be, people are going to think we're just 3rd. So kind of fighting for that win was great. And I just think the energy carried throughout the whole weekend. I mean, we were building off every swim. Like, we had a couple of men's individual wins, and then the relay wins and the records, and everything just kept building on each other. So
it kept, like, everything just kept getting better and better. I apologize. You guys were 3rd in the CCIW conference. Yes. But you guys performed really well, and especially in that match against Wheaton that you guys had back in November, you guys had kind of gone head-to-head against Wheaton all season, and then our meet at home that we had, you guys won 168-132 over Wheaton, which was real close. Do you guys want to talk about that meet and what that environment was like and what you guys did before to kind of get ready for that? Because I think, isn't it Wheaton that is more of your guys' like nemesis in terms of our conference play?
Yeah, so we got a couple rituals that we do before the Wheaton meet. Those are secret for the swim team. So we'll keep those under wraps. But we have some things that we do before that to get us in the right mental mindset. They definitely are like our oldest rivalry going into it. So the men's and women's seniors always take like a little bit lead on that. Explain to the freshmen, like, you got to get prepared going into this,
Yeah, a little bit of the history between the two teams.
Right, like it's a long-standing rivalry that like originated.
I always try like prior to like the meet, like some of the dual meets that we had prior to the season aren't as, invigorating. But I try and tell, like, the freshmen or people that haven't gone through the meet before that, like, hey, if there's any meet to care about, it's this one. You know what I mean? Like, this is the meet where, like, you sleep early the night before, like, you think about it. It's a fun time, too, sometimes. When we win. Yeah.
It was nice to bring home the win on both sides for that.
It was.
For sure, especially going into conference,
Oh my gosh, yeah. Well, and that was just an intense meet overall because it was like the second or third meet that you guys had of the season, and it was just like you guys were just building up. So for you guys to perform as well as you did again against competitors that have this long-standing rivalry between the two schools, it's amazing and honestly proud. So glad. But when it comes to, just like your everyday prep for games and for those meets that you guys have, is there something that you guys each do individually that you guys do to kind of prepare for the game, get ready for the meet, lock in right before? Like, what is your game day ritual?
Do you want to start?
Yeah, I mean, it starts it used to start the night before with like I'll get like a Jack's Pizza.
Okay.
And then I started having like really bad meats like after that, so I stopped doing that. So I guess that we could toss that out. Game day ritual, like wake up. Maybe I'll play some like video games to kind of relax myself.
What video game?
Like Grand Theft Auto.
Okay.
But I'm not stealing cars or anything. I'm just
cruising around.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
I'm like following the laws.
Sure.
Yeah, I'll do that, and then we had to do like a wake up swim. Which like in the moment,
the whole team loves it.
Yeah, sorry, we really like waking up early and getting in like a cold pool. That's something we all.
And then getting dry, and then getting back in.
Yeah. So that's something we really look forward to. I don't know, like listening to music. That's probably a pretty dull answer, but yeah.
What's your like pre-game like song? Like, what is that song that if you need to lock in and get hype? What you putting on?
Something like actually like really like calming. No. Scratch that. Like Unwritten by I think like Natasha like Bedingfield or something.
Yeah.
Like kind of like 2016 pop, like
some like white girl pop.
Yeah, white girl music. It's exactly that. Yeah, or like I'll look up like frat playlists. I'll play. I'll just like Katy Perry and stuff like that.
Awesome.
Yeah, being honest.
It's okay.
Yeah.
We love honesty.
Yeah, I wish it was like Eminem or something.
No, it's okay. It's okay.
It's just not your style.
Yeah.
No,
yeah.
You're just different than other guys.
Yeah, definitely. For sure.
Yeah. What about you, Grace?
Mine always starts the night before swim meet with ice cream. Normally, preferably Ben & Jerry's. I'm kind of Ben & Jerry's.
What flavor?
I like the brownie batter core. That's my go-to. But I'll take anything. It just has to be ice cream. Even if it's just one spoonful of ice cream, it has to happen. Started when I was in middle school, has continued.
Wow, long-standing.
In the morning, we do our morning swim. But before that, my roommates and I always start out the morning speaker, music on, getting ready in the house together. So, it's just always fun to dance around a little bit. And then I like to be the first person in the warm-up pool. Yeah. So...
You're a trooper for that.
Yeah, I stand there and I wait, and I'm like, I want to be the first one in and have the pool to myself.
Do you really?
For just a little bit, yeah.
Okay.
She does that.
Yeah. I mean, I understand. It's probably crowded after
it gets so busy, and
then
people are running over you, and you have people you don't want to swim in warm-up lanes with, so you have to avoid those people,
Well, and I've seen you guys doing, like, your warm-up swims, and, like, you guys, like, follow each other, so it's, like, kind of like this, like, weird loop where, like, one of you goes, and, like, when you're halfway in, like, the next person starts, so, like, right when the person's, like, flipping to start the next lap, like, you're hitting that same spot too.
Yeah, so that's a proper etiquette. But you have people who don't understand that in
like
some
who?
warm-up lane. I don't know. Are you gonna drop some names?
No, I don't know what she's talking about.
We can edit it out.
There's a few.
Yeah, we have a few. But they like to push off right behind you, so you gotta avoid them.
Yeah.
Swim faster than the ones behind you.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, awesome. So let's just go into some questions about the team next then. So I do have a couple of questions just about the coaching staff because you guys had early in the season quite a large coaching change. So Seth Weidman had actually been here for quite a few years, been the head coach here. So he actually left and went to a different school down in Chicago, and Coach Q actually ended up taking over. So Quentin was able to take over. What was that like for you guys as seniors coming into that and having Seth for, the past few years and then having him not here for your senior year? What was that change and adjustment like?
Yeah, I mean, I guess it was weird to start out with because they kind of had us all like going to like an auditorium in like the CSU, and they're like pretty much like he's leaving, And then
That's so sad.
yeah.
It was sad. It was brutal.
I was sad about it. For
I
sure.
cried when I found out. I won't
Yeah.
lie.
Yeah, there was definitely some tears.
Yeah, definitely. But then they're like, we're taking Q on, and then we all like Q.
Yeah.
So.
Well, he's been here for a few years too, as well, hasn't he?
Yeah, right?
Yeah, it's his second year. He was a GA for us. So he was a GA last year, and then he took it on this year. So,
That's awesome.
well, we missed Seth and his clementines at practice. He used to eat his clementines while we swam.
I remember.
Some gummy bears. So we miss that, and we miss him for sure and his personality. But Q's great, and him and Beth work great together. So
yeah, they've been quite the dynamic duo.
A good
this
team,
year.
right?
Yeah.
Like
I'm like, you guys have been adjusting really well. I'm like, you guys had quite a large freshman class too, and so having that coaching change right at the beginning, did that kind of impact your guys' freshman class at all in a negative way, knowing that they were going to be coming in with this coach and then having that change? Did you guys as seniors have to kind of take over the leadership a little bit and kind of help those freshmen out in a way?
I think like the seniors met, and we talked about it, but we had a large class of freshmen. I mean, on the women's side alone, we had 14 of them.
Right,
so that takes up almost half our team. So just kind of addressing with them that like our expectations are still the same, like we still demand respect from everybody and hard work and effort. So
I think maybe, I don't know if it's like a stretch to say this, but I feel like for us it was a bigger change than for the freshmen.
I agree, yeah.
Just because we've been used to him for like the 3 years prior, and like he's someone to talk to, or like in this scenario, like I might talk to Seth before I talk to Beth. I think it was definitely like it felt like a bigger change for us seniors than the freshmen.
Well, and especially for the men, like our freshman year, he was the men's head coach, and Beth was the woman. So then we had that like transfer, and Beth became head of both programs. So I think the men were definitely impacted by that a decent amount.
In terms of like Q and Seth's coaching style, both effective, but I would say that it's definitely like different.
How has your guys' adjustment been to having that coaching style switch from Seth's usual style to now being under the leadership of Q, especially on the men's side? Because you said the men's is kind of having a little bit more of that difficulty. How are you guys adjusting to that? What are you guys doing to kind of ease that transition a little bit?
Well, I guess at the beginning of last year, I felt like felt like harder in the pool. I don't know, because that was like, it was actually like, I don't know if I was out of shape or something, but it seems like other people felt the same way. So like, I think maybe in terms of like their coaching style, like that's something that felt like it shifted. Is like they might have felt like they needed to push us a little bit earlier, which in the long run worked out. So I think like getting used to that was kind of something that for me, because I was getting the first few weeks, it was really working, getting me back into shape. So.
Well, that's good. It obviously paid out in the end because you guys obviously took second in conference, which is great. So obviously the training is working out in the long run, but hopefully the dynamic with the team continues to go up. You guys have a great team dynamic to begin with, so hopefully with the coaching adjustment it'll continue to kind of ease its way in and continue to be on that upward positive swing. Going back into coaching, so Beth was awarded the Coach of the Year while you guys were out. So did you guys celebrate her win? How did you guys celebrate with her? Did you do anything for her? Like, I'm just curious for like the coaching.
Yeah, so we haven't had our banquet yet, so nothing's like fully happened. But we were very proud of her, especially on the women's team. I think that she was a little bit blindsided since we did get second, right? She kind of thought that would go to the first place coach.
Right.
To see her that happy was amazing, and it's very well deserved. She works so hard. She's built a wonderful freshman class underneath us. So I think the team's only getting better from here, and that's a huge thanks to Beth.
Well, and Beth is just a wonderful woman to begin with. She's so passionate about this program and truly puts her entire heart and soul into all the swimmers that are in the program. Like, I've spoken to you, I've spoken to other swimmers that are on the female side that are close with Beth, and I have not once ever heard a bad thing about her. So
no negative things to say at all.
Yeah, she's amazing. So I'm so happy for her. But congratulations to Coach Beth. So with that large kind of senior and freshman class, with you guys having 17 seniors this year, and then having that large freshman class, are you guys kind of okay with that transition of having you guys have that large class leaving with this large class coming in to take over? Are you guys excited for this new freshman class that'll be coming in after you guys are leaving? Like, do you know any of them? Have you been able to get to know a little bit of that new team that'll be coming in? Yeah,
so I work for Beth, so I'm like one of her recruiters and I help her. So I've gotten to meet a lot of them, especially like as this freshman class becomes sophomores, so we know them, but also this incoming class in the fall. I think they're going to be in a really good place. They're a lot of hard workers, good personalities. personalities. We got a good
Love
mix,
it.
which is always really important for a big team. You know, you got to have your outgoing people. You got to have your a little bit quieter but hard workers. I think it's going to be really weird to have the 17 of us leave. You know, of course, to us, we think that, like, it's going to be super strange and they're never going to be able to go on without us.
Yeah.
But they will. They'll be fine, just like we were. So
They'll get back
I think-
into the swing. And,
yeah, for sure. And then they got some good leadership coming up next year as well. The classes are a little bit smaller, but they're ready.
Yeah, they'll be fine.
Yeah.
They'll be, yeah.
They're not going to miss you, right?
Yeah, we're pretty important, but they're, they'll manage.
The other 3 Aidens will take care of it.
Yeah, they will. Yeah.
Awesome. So you guys unfortunately don't have any more meets coming up this year, but you guys will start again in the fall. So those schedules will be posted probably later in the summertime. So we'll be excited to get those out and get those dates posted and get everything started for you guys. But just a couple more just general questions about, swim, just to get to know you guys a little bit. But for swim, it's obviously kind of a more elusive sport here at Carthage. I feel like a lot of people don't really know about swim and dive, and they don't really know what, swim and dive is really like. And a lot of people, there's not really a lot of people at the meets other than friends and family. So do you want to just talk about a little bit what that energy and environment of swim and dive is that is like different in comparison to other sports like basketball or like a volleyball environment?
Yeah, I think you can kind of think about it a little bit like track, right? Everyone's kind of like in track, everyone's running their own race next to each other, swimming. It's very similar. But we do have some team like relays and events like that, which is really fun to cheer for. And once you just get to like go to a few swim meets, I think people understand how gravitating the sport can be. You get really excited when you start to see these people over and over again win their races, or you start to know like who are like the top people in heats and stuff like that. So I think it gets really fun just to like give it a try and go out there. So
Yeah, I guess it's like an interesting dynamic from like what other people are used to, because obviously like football, soccer, basketball, baseball, like it's just like as a team, like you're just viewed as a team, whereas like swimming, it's kind of different because you're swimming for yourself. But I think what like signs of a really good team is when you start swimming for your team as opposed to just for yourself. Because in club, like that's kind of, I don't know about Grace, but that's kind of what I felt like. It's just I'm swimming for myself to like try and get into a good school or whatever. But at least here at Carthage, like when we're talking about that 200 backstroke that I excelled at, I felt like I really, it sounds corny, but I really felt like I was swimming for my team, and I was excited to, score points for them. So I feel like that's like the good sign of like leadership or culture is when like swimming, what's viewed as like an individual sport, you take it a step past that,
Yeah, that's really great. Do you want to kind of go into a little bit more with kind of how the scoring is for swim, because it's a little bit different in comparison? Like you did say it's kind of like track a little bit, and it is, but just like how you're scored individually but as a team at the same time and with the different races and stuff. Do either of you want to kind of explain that a little bit?
Yeah, in terms of like how swimming scored?
Yeah,
what, like do you know the exact points?
So like I don't know the exact points, but individuals can score. So at like a dual meet, it's a little bit different. Like less people can score.
Yeah.
But at a conference championship meet, top 16 can score. So before going into the meet, we make like a scoring roster, and you can only have 17 scorers on that roster. So not everybody gets to swim for points, but everybody gets to swim.
Yeah.
So those top 16 points all contribute, and then the relays are double the amount of points. So that's why the relays are such a big deal, is because when we get to that point, like winning or losing a relay could make or break those final scores.
Yeah, that's where like the big shifts in like
scoring.
And like a dual meet or whatever, or like if a team like disqualifies, like if you get first place and you disqualify, like that's 40 points gone. And like our last year the meet came down to between 3 teams, it was like 13, 14 points that like separated you from first and third. So it's like that the relays are electric in swimming.
That's one thing that you guys get really, really excited about. That's like my favorite part of being able to announce those meets, is when you guys do the relays and you're lined the pool and every single person is screaming at every single person that goes in. Like they jump off and they're screaming the whole way down. There are people at the end that are screaming in the pool. Like it's such an electric environment. It's amazing. I think dive and swim are a little bit like interesting because while you guys are like separate teams too, like you do get scored like together as well.
So like all those divers are crucial to our points, right?
Exactly.
I think at conference they score top 5 as well. So like those points are super crucial, and honestly that's what kept the women ahead for 2 days, right? Like their points were a huge contributor to what we were doing.
Yeah, which is a huge help to you guys and being able to get that CCAW win, and obviously those scores are super important to being able to continue bringing that score up for you guys while you guys are still at swim and getting those events in and getting all those points in. So that's amazing. When it comes to the swim and dive just environment, do you guys personally prefer it over like other sports environments that you have performed in with like other sports that you've been involved in?
Yeah, so I've been swimming for a really long time. So like it used to be like a t-ball, softball thing before that. I personally like that I can swim by myself and then be on those relays occasionally, right? Like be in those team environments. But I do like everything is in my control, kind of, you know, not like those total points, but my racing environment, which I appreciate.
Yeah, I mean, I guess speaking to like the environment of swimming, like one of my favorite aspects for sure is at least like in college or even like high school and stuff like that is like people that if they don't score a ton of points or they're not like I guess crucial to the team, but still seeing like the work that those people put in and seeing like they have like a 10-second drop, like honestly like sometimes that's as cool as seeing like your team get like first place in like the relay or whatever, like seeing somebody that like I don't know just joined the team or like you're like swimming next to them every single day, you're waking up with them, waking up and training with them, let me set that straight, like seeing that happen, like that is like the coolest thing for me because we had somebody on the team like Dennis, he like
shout out to Dennis,
worked his butt off, he's from Turkey. Yeah, he's from Turkey.
He's actually at Nationals right now. Doing monofin Nationals in Turkey.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
He's got these really cool fins that he wears.
Yeah, he's super cool. But he like worked his butt off, and then you just see like throughout like the meets, meet by meet, just like beating people and then dropping time. Like for me, that was like one of the coolest storylines is that, I don't know, I feel like maybe I don't know much about other sports, but it's harder to see that or it's less tangible. Because like you might not get playing time, but in swimming, like seeing someone like really excel and like the work like show, I think it's like one of the best parts.
Yeah, I think that's where swim is a little bit different, where like that hard work can be kind of shown almost with that immediate progress, where like if you go in and you put in that work to, you know, get your 50 free time down, like, and you come to that next meet and you've been working on it, there's a good chance you're going to drop your score.
Yeah, the times are going to show it, you know. I think that's the beauty about it is there's nobody like judging what you're doing. It's literally right there.
The facts are there.
Yeah.
The facts are in the time. Awesome. Let me ask you guys, so what is something that you wish that people knew about swim and dive that most people don't?
Ooh, man. That's a great question. Grace, do you have anything? I'm trying to think of something off the top of my head.
Swim is so elusive here. I don't feel like a lot of people know a lot about swim.
I think that like one thing that people should know is it's like one of the most watched sports in the Olympics right now. Like it's huge, especially in the women's swimming world. Like it's one of the most watched women's sports of all time. So like it's growing in popularity and it's kind of hard to see at like this Division III college level. But it is like really a huge branching national sport. So hopefully it gets there eventually.
Yeah, that would be nice.
Yeah.
I mean, like that's where I got my first like exposure to swim and dive was watching like Michael Phelps when I was a kid growing up and being like, oh my gosh, like he swims so fast, like, and even like learning about like the different like physical like attributes that swimmers can have that will actually make them better swimmers and things like that, like how Michael Phelps has like even those tiny little like whether or not your feet are wider or skinnier, like those tiny physical adjustments can mean all the difference too.
Yeah, I was like thinking about like weird things that people might think about swimmers. Like people in high school used to ask me why I had like shaved legs. So I guess like now I can say like I could like publicize this. It's because like for like big meets it makes you go faster, you're more aerodynamic. So it wasn't because I just wanted to shave my legs. So I'll set that straight. But
there was a purpose for it.
There was definitely a purpose. Not to say I'll never shave my legs again, because sometimes it feels nice getting like your pajamas.
And then
But like I would never do that if it wasn't for swimming. So that's something I want everybody to know.
He didn't do it
Yeah, I was forced to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So you guys used to have matching team uniforms where you guys had the black kind of one pieces and the guys had the Speedo bottoms, but now you guys have been able to kind of transition into wearing your own types of swimwear, including the like full body one pieces for women that go all the way down to your knees. Do you guys want to talk about that kind of change that happened? Because that happened right up in between the middle of your guys' collegiate career, and just being able to go from that kind of mandated like team uniform to having a little bit of self-expression with what you guys were wearing.
Yeah, so we all have a suit that like each senior class picks out. So like the women pick out a meet suit and the men's senior class pick out a meet suit. So those were like the black and white tie-dye that you saw. And then when we get to like bigger competitions, so that's normally like our mid-season and then our conference, and then depending on swimmers' discretion throughout the season, we wear what we call like our tech suits.
Yeah.
So those are our longer suits. They're very tight. They take a long time to put on. That is one thing that I wish people knew, is like that suit that I put on that goes to my knees takes me a half an hour to put on.
Yeah.
So it like comes out of the sides. It's like American Girl Lost Size package. Like you like have to sit there. You normally need some help putting it on.
You like pull it out and you're like, is this gonna fit?
So those make us hypothetically way faster. But you know, I think part of that's mental, and you know, it just makes people ready to race. I do. So like those big competitions, we put those on.
Yeah.
And those can be whatever. I mean, whatever brand you want, whatever color. So that's where the self-expression really starts to show.
Do you think being able to have that, like, access to that self-expression helps you guys with your mentality for those meets, especially because you're having those, like, larger competitors and larger meets that mean more?
Yeah, I think it depends on the swimmer. Some people are, like, very passionate about it. One of my roommates has to have, like, the coolest looking tech suit on the pool deck. Like, she always says that. So she won't even go through, like, the team discount. She's like, I want my own. So she'll go get her own one with like flames and stuff. I normally go plain black. This year they didn't have it, so I had to pull out like a blue and teal, which was new for me. I ended up liking it.
Yeah, it was cute.
You know, so I think that it just depends on the swimmer. Some people feel very passionately about it, other people don't.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, at least on the men's side, I haven't heard anybody speak about how passionate they are. Sorry about the table. About like their design of the suit. No, I could think of like one
like
or two
colors,
people. Yeah, I could think of one or two people that might like, but I think more or less for like the guys, a lot of us are looking for the cheapest thing that isn't gonna, you know what I mean, like that looks decent. Yeah, I mean, going back to what she said about the whole putting on the suit, like those things, like I've like my like fingertips have bled, and it's taken like, you know, like 30 plus minutes to put on like one of these, like just something just like get up over your waist, like it's really painful sometimes, especially like when you gain weight and you didn't expect it, you know what I mean, and it's time to put the suit on.
And you're like, ooh, she's a little tight this year.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it gives you a little extra motivation. I don't know.
Like ripping the suit. They're like $500 suits, so when you go to put them on and your hand slips through it.
I heard about there was one meet where someone was about to start their relay and they bent over and the bottom of their swimsuit ripped open, and I was like, oh, that's so unfortunate.
It happens more often than anything.
Yeah, I've heard that.
Yeah.
It's not great. It does, but
my roommate, like it like tore just like in the front.
On the pool?
It was just like
Tragic.
Yeah, so I'm like, I'm happy I didn't have to go through that ever in my career.
No, thank God.
Yeah.
See, I didn't know that they took that long to put on, because this year was the year that I found out that you guys don't go to the bathrooms to go to the bathroom. Yeah, and so I was like, oh, and they were like, yeah, they just pee in the pool because it's easier because the suits are hard to get on.
Some will, or like honestly, some will just like go stand in the shower, because once it's wet, like you're not getting it off and putting it back on. Like I said, like I normally have like a couple women helping
like when
me
it's
put
dry.
It on. Yeah, like when it's dry, putting it on. So putting it on wet would be.
Oh yeah.
Like is it wet? It's just worse.
Yeah, no, you can. You probably rip it. Yeah.
That's
you definitely.
So you gotta do what you gotta do when you have to go to the bathroom.
Yeah. So if you see someone like just like hop in the pool and then like get out like they're not.
Yeah. You know. Aiden hangs out there a lot normally.
I do, yeah. You'll see me like sometimes I'll try and like cover it up. So I'll like get in and I'll swim a lap and then I'll just stay on the other side and then. You know.
You're just like, I'm not doing anything. No.
Yeah, and it's even worse when people try and like talk to you while you're doing it, because it's just like, you know, especially if they start to like get close, you're like,
let me just swim back.
Yeah, I'll never tell them. Like you'll never know it's happening, but like it'll be warmer around me for sure. So
they're like, man, it just got really warm over here.
Yeah. Then I don't know.
Oh, tragic. Oh, okay. So final question for you guys. What has been your favorite part of being on the Carthage swim team? Has it been the culture? Has it been the teammates that you've had, the coaches, the experience? Like, truly, like, deep down, like, what has been, like, your rooted love for this program that has stuck with you for all 4 years?
Mine is the people 100%. Like, whether that's my teammates or the coaches, they are my best friends on campus. I think people know the swimmers, are always together.
Yeah.
So it's fun to have people of, like, all different grades, and, right, like, we have the men and women who practice together. So I think it creates more of, like, a family aspect, right? I have a lot of, like, brothers and sisters now through that. So I love my people, and it's going to be sad to leave them, in 7 weeks.
That's beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah, I would say definitely, like, there's 2 parts to my answer. One is definitely the people, like she was talking about, because I moved from New York to here, and
Big
then, and, like, it was only, like, really when I got here that I realized that, oh, shoot, like, I don't have any friends from high school, or, like, I don't even, like, vaguely know anybody. So, like, really when I, like, first day on the team is kind of when I, like, found people that, had, like, the same interests as me. And then that definitely made going to Carthage, like, significantly easier. So I would say the people for sure. And then also, like, training trip. Yeah, training trip. Did you think I was going somewhere else with that?
Yeah, I was scared what you were going to say, but training trip's a good answer.
We'll just say training trip. Because we went to, like, Puerto Rico last year, our junior year. And we went to Orlando a few times.
Do
you want to talk about what you guys do on those training trips? Because, like, obviously, like, you go there to train, but, like, what specifically do you guys do? Because you guys go there for, like, what, like a week?
Yeah, it's about a week.
Yeah.
We swim a lot. We swim in the morning, swim at night, dry land. But we also get, like, a free day. We went to a water park one day.
Yeah, we did. It, like, definitely, like, hurts. Like, it's kind of, like, it's weird because you're excited to go to, like, this new place that's warm, but you're also spending, like, 4 hours of your day, like,
swimming.
In pain.
Beth wants you to be up at 5 o'clock in the morning to go swim,
Yeah, so there's everybody, like, I think genuinely likes it.
And hates it at the same time. I think it's, like, a love-hate relationship.
It is, yeah.
They love it because they get to go and travel, but
and,
they
like, lay on the beach in between.
Yeah.
Right. And we swim in, like, an Olympic-sized pool, so instead of the 50, like, 25 yards you see, we swim in 50 meters.
Yeah.
So then that makes it even longer.
They'll throw, like, all the hardest sets. Like, this is definitely, like, the hardest, like, straight week probably of training that we have in the whole season. But it's nice because it's, like, sunny out and it's warm. But it also, again, like, doing 4 hours of, like, any type of physical exercise kind of gets boring.
That's definitely at the point of the season,
while,
though, where the team gets close, right? Like, it's December at that point. We had been together for, like, 3 months. That's when the team starts to form its bonds, and, like, that's when the culture really picks up.
Get ramped up for the final few months.
Yeah, people start to get really excited, and, everyone's seen their times at practice, and I think that's, like, the turning point for, like, our projection for conference.
I got COVID there, or, like, during my training trip.
We left them.
Yeah, they actually, like, left me.
It was Seth.
Yeah, I got left with Seth. So, yeah, maybe that's why it was harder for me to leave him. But,
safe hands. It's okay.
Yeah, it was so sick. They made me sit at, like, a completely different table from them, too.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Like, half our team got COVID our freshman year when we went. But,
Where were you guys at? Were you in Puerto Rico?
We were in Orlando. So we had to leave Aiden and one other person there because they got it when we were there. So, hey, they had to do what they had to do. Right, exactly.
Yeah, but I was so ready to go home. But after, it was, like, it sucked for, like, the first few hours. And then they, like, took me to my hotel room. We had really nice hotel rooms at the time. And then, everything was paid for, too.
That's
so,
nice.
You know what I mean? Like, I had a lot of fun doing that. I allegedly went to Gordon Ramsay's restaurant, too, in Orlando. Well, I don't know if I was wearing a mask, allegedly. But, yeah. So, yeah, it was a good time.
Good.
So.
Amazing. Well, awesome. Well, thank you guys so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having us.
Of course. I appreciate you guys just taking time out and get ready for the next year and taking the time to chat with us, and congrats on your final year. Congrats on graduation.
Thank
All the
you.
best to you guys with after grad plans. I know it's getting that time. I'm like, I'm not ready for it either.
No, we're going to be all over the place.
I know. I'm like, they keep sending us grad emails, and I'm like, yeah, there's no way. So
it's crazy.
Yeah, awesome. Well, thank you guys so much. I appreciate you.
Thank you.
Of course. But yeah, we're all good there. That's all that I had. So
Perfect.
like that actually perfect freaking timing. It's
Yeah.
4:26.
Oh.